Breaking right now, peaceful protests against ICE in Chicago turned violent after ICE started using tear gas and pepper spray against the protesters. Let's take a look at this first clip right now showing how bad the situation actually got.
Darius Johnson has been up. Agents are taking someone into the facility. That is a second protester. Let's check in with Darius Johnson, who's been on the ground there all morning long. Darius, what can you tell us about how this started?
Hey, Lou, get right in. Hey, Lou, get the shot inside of the facility. They have someone on the ground. If you're able to see that person, they're closing the gate right now. There's a person on the ground being held on the ground by those ICE agents. And look, if you pan over right now, Lou, let's see right here with the vehicle. They are plowing through the protesters right here at this vehicle. They tried to deploy everything that they could as these protesters were trying to block agents from moving in and out. They have another man. They are just deploying anything that they can to try to get the protesters out of the way. Dana, give me 1 second as I put my mask on because they just sprayed chemical agents again. Okay. So right now, this is what we have been seeing. This has been one of the tensest moments this morning. What just happened right now? You had vehicles that were trying to make its way out. Dana, I'm actually going to move away from the camera now that the smoke is
Darius,
now impacting my eyes.
You need to get away from that smoke. Please, we appreciate you reporting. Get away from that smoke.
I'm back near the vehicle, Dana. I'm near the vehicle. I have a mask on. I'm okay. So basically, every time that people are pulling out, they are blocking the vehicles from getting in and out. At this point, what we saw this time was the agents on top of the roof. They started, Lou, you need to get something on your eyes.
It's very important.
Dana, let me send it back to you. We're going to hold the shot.
Yes.
We just need to protect our eyes right now.
This situation is obviously horrifying. To see this unfolding in the United States of America, this is part of Donald Trump's Operation Midway Blitz that he announced earlier this month. His effort to take over Chicago, just like he took over Washington, D.C. Now, obviously, a federal judge did not allow Donald Trump to enter with the National Guard, but that has not stopped him from ramping up ICE efforts. And these ICE efforts are kind of what we just saw happening right now. They're violent. They're trying to hide. They are closing gates. They're taking people in unmarked vehicles. This situation has escalated, and we should have expected that based off of the name Operation Midway Blitz. That sounds like something out of World War II. It doesn't sound like something that a president should be doing to his own citizens. But what more could we expect from Donald Trump? So let's get some more details on this story. Federal agents threw tear gas canisters and shot pepper spray balls at a crowd of protesters attempting to block a van leaving a U.S. Immigration and Customs facility in Broadview on Friday morning. Protests are escalating over the Department of Homeland Security Operation Midway Blitz in the Chicago area. Evanston Mayor and 9th District Congressional candidate Daniel Bliss was among the protesters injured. So not only did this involve citizens that are concerned for the federal overreach that is taking place, for the fact that their communities are being terrorized. If you aren't aware, a couple days ago was Mexican Independence Day, and Chicago has a large Mexican population, and events had to be canceled in response to these efforts from the Trump administration to terrorize communities. But it's not just people of color or Hispanics, or for that matter, illegal immigrants that are being affected by what's going on right now. As we just heard, there was a mayor that got involved in this incident, but there's also a congressional candidate, Kat Abu, who is running for Congress there in the Chicago area, was at this protest. And so let's see what happened to her, because I believe that this was possibly the most damning part of this entire demonstration. Yeah, so I mean, so many different things to analyze here, right? Obviously, a grown man in full bulletproof gear and military clothing, wearing a mask, sunglasses on, carrying an assault rifle, or at the very least, some high capacity firearm, picks up just, I mean, we're watching this video, picks up an innocent person who obviously has nothing more but their smartphone in their hand, and tosses them, throws them around like a rag doll, and has no regard for whether she's okay. If the claim here is that we're supposed to be protecting the community, my question is, how does this do that? How does this protect anyone? This is an escalation. Let's see what Kat had to say in response to her getting thrown.
We have Kat once again. Kat, what's your last name?
Abu Ghazaleh.
And Kat, you were one of those who got pushed down earlier this morning by ICE agents. Talk to me. That was twice. Talk to me a little bit about where things are right now. That was probably the most tense moment we've seen all morning. Not probably, it was.
Yeah, so the first time that we were accosted, they took a protester inside, and then we have been waiting here to get them out. We saw them come out in chains, were put in a van, and all of us joined arms and did not let the van pass. So ICE came in and tried to drive the car through us. They almost ran someone over. We did not move. We stood strong, and that's when they brought out the pepper balls. That's when they brought out the tear gas. I got shot in the leg like 6 times, but that's nothing compared to what some other people experienced. We all got tear gassed. There are canisters on the ground. I was talking to people who have been covered, Ferguson, that covered like all of these different protests that have had so much, excessive use of force, and they were like, I've never seen anything like this. And they took another person in. There was another peaceful protester that was dragged inside.
So there are now 2 protesters who are inside, or
one that's in there, one that's in a van going God knows where.
And one that was just put in the van. That was the van that you all were surrounding, that you all were not allowing out, and that's when things really started to get tense. That was the protester from around 6:30 this morning that was put inside that, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is the first time a protester has ever been taken in this facility. We have no weapons. We have signs and chants and songs, and they are treating us like it's a war zone.
Kat, quick question, because we've been wondering this. The protester who was taken into custody at one point, do you know their status? Are they just a regular U.S. citizen?
I have no idea for either of them. I have zero idea, and I just want to stress it is on. I don't know where our elected officials are right now, but
not only does she have no idea the status of this protester, apparently now 3 protesters who were taken in by ICE agents. ICE doesn't know the status of these protesters. So again, not only are they cracking down apparently on illegals that are here, they're also cracking down on United States citizens that are here, and they're taking it a step further by cracking down on congressional candidates that are protesting. And I think that we cannot forget the context in which this is happening. A couple weeks ago, Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and you saw condemnations of political violence. No one was, happy with what occurred. On the contrary, everyone united behind the idea that political violence should not be taking place in the United States. But it's the opposite that is happening right now with this situation. Let's look at what some individuals are saying about this development in Chicago and how voices on the right are responding to what is going on. So obviously there's this tweet from Libs of TikTok. Mask-wearing Illinois congressional candidate Kat Abu just got bodied by ICE after trying to F with them. Immediate FAFO, clearly making light of the situation. This next clip, this next post, Kat Abu immediately obstructed ICE agents. Hey, AG Pam Bondi, you need to arrest Kat now. Make a legal example out of this criminal. Look, this is 1984. This is snitching on your neighbors. This is reporting incidents that you don't like. This is the epitome of fascism. Again, the clip shows you sitting in the middle of the road attempting to block traffic and impede an ICE operation, causing the agents to give you rightfully what you deserve. Now imagine if someone had made this argument about the incident that unfolded with Charlie Kirk. Imagine if someone said that he got rightfully what he deserved for whatever reason. what would be the response from the right? I can guarantee you that it wouldn't be the same energy that they're bringing towards Kat getting thrown, an act again of political violence, obviously not resulting in a death, but threatening our basic civil liberties. Let's take a look at one more tweet here. Obstructing law enforcement, which is what you just posted a video of yourself doing, isn't a First Amendment right. It's a crime. So then what is the logical conclusion here? When people protest peacefully, well, you're actually not allowed to do that. You should get your ass beat as a result of doing it. When people don't protest peacefully, well, actually, you're not allowed to do that either. You should get the death penalty for doing that. There is no way to keep these people happy. And I hope that Democrats learned that lesson. Earlier today, they tried to pass a Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day in the Senate, and it passed unanimously. A lot of Democrats also voted for it in the House. That's neither here nor there. The larger thing to remember here is that ICE is going after everybody. And the end game of the Trump administration is to go after me, to go after you, to go after all Americans, irrespective of their legal status or position. As we had mentioned earlier, the mayor was also at this protest. Let's take a look at him talking about this situation.
Yeah, give us your Venmo. We can help you with the uniform. I'm here next to Daniel Biss, who's being pushed by ICE.
And let's pause it here. Just a couple different things to point out. Kind of funny that the ICE agent is the one to turn away in this, stare off. But second, looking at how the ICE agent was dressed, the clothing that they had on, this is not, it doesn't look, again, like a well regulated force. It looks like people that they picked up off the street to help them pick up other people off of the street, to help them quell these protests. This looks like a random group of individuals, and that's what ICE is going for. They're trying to make you afraid of your neighbors, and that's what these commentators on Twitter are also trying to do. They're trying to get fear evoked in the American population to justify more ICE actions, to justify the type of political violence that they like. Let's play the rest of the clip here.
I'm back at the Broadview ICE facility where, in part of a protest just a few minutes ago, not only did they come with weapons and violent show of force and drive a van into us, but then they tear gassed us. And I have to tell you, it was terrifying. It was impossible to breathe and really, really scary. But the point is they are trying to intimidate us, to stop us from standing up and being a part of a nonviolent resistance. And we will not be intimidated.
That's 100% right. Again, the objective here is to make us scared. The objective here is to be concerned. If you say something that they don't like, they want you to be afraid that you're going to face repercussions for saying things that they do not like. They want you to be engaging in doublethink all the time, walking through your thought processes, making sure that you're capitulating at every single one of their demands. They want to control your thoughts. Let's look at another example of them escalating and making sure that this is the case. Libs of TikTok doubling down, not only calling for the arrest of Kat and making fun of her for being harmed in this protest, but also calling for the arrest of the mayor, who we just saw speaking there, Mayor Daniel Bliss. Saying, breaking, it appears Evanston, Illinois Mayor Daniel Bliss joined the violent anti-ICE protest at an ICE facility and blocked ICE. Arrest him at ice.gov. Again, some patterns here. You're seeing the fact that she's pointing out that he's a Democrat, trying to get her mob riled up, calling it a violent anti-ICE protest when we just saw multiple people who were at the protest speaking about how they didn't have anything more but their signs, their chants, and their songs. Meanwhile, the people that they were protesting had high-capacity firearms, had tear gas masks on, were deploying tear gas, shot rubber bullets, pepper sprayed people, tackled them to the ground, threw them to the ground, kidnapped people in unmarked vehicles. So if anyone made this protest violent, violent. I mean, to be fair, Libs of TikTok isn't lying. It was a violent protest, but it was violent because ICE made it violent, because ICE is terrorizing communities, citizens, mayors, congressional candidates, anyone that they see as getting in the way of the supreme leader. They are taking them down. But with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with stories like this. And thank you so much for watching.